Is your PC running slow? Well, today I'm going to share a tip on how you can make your PC run faster by looking at the startup processes that run every time it boots, and then making sure that some of those things that you're not using don't start up. And it goes beyond what you can see in Task Manager, because I'm going to show you another free tool that you can use that makes things a lot better. So let's go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the tool that probably everyone knows and uses today, which is Task Manager and the Startup tab, just to give you a comparison of what you can do there versus what you can do in the tool that I'm actually recommending, Sysinternal's Autorun. So let's take a look at what we can see in Task Manager. Alright, so when I fan out more details from Task Manager and go to the startup, I can see that I've got potentially 20 or so processes here that are running. Some things I'm not using right now, for example, various Apple services that are there, also Cyberlink UCAM, the McAfee security app, various things that I don't need. So if you go to live.sysinternals.com, this is where you can actually find the tool that I recommend and that the pros recommend in terms of finding everything that runs as part of that startup process. We'll go ahead and download Autorun 64, which is the version that most people will need. And now you can see just a comparison, or just kind of what Autoruns actually finds, and look at how many things are actually starting up as part of Windows initializing in its startup process. You can see much more than 20 or so items that we saw in the Task Manager through the startup folder. There are tons and tons of things that are running across various different areas. For example, in Login, Windows Explorer, anything from Internet Explorer, scheduled tasks, services. And these red items that you see here, these are things that are not verified. So I can see here there's some printer services that I'm not using. I'm not using that printer anymore, so I might want to disable some of those things. And you know, you can see quite a few different items here. It's actually a lot to kind of take in. And here's some more red striped items. These are things that are not verified from the publisher perspective. The yellow highlights are things that haven't been found on the system, so maybe they're part of a process that should initialize, but they can't actually find that library or that process or that file. So I can see there are a couple other processes there, for example, with things from TechSmith and Camtasia. I'm actually using that right now to record this demo. And you can see even processes from Office and other areas. Now, one thing you can do to filter out some of the processes is just basically filter out the ones from Microsoft, the ones that are verified for Microsoft. And that's what that button does there, and the one next to it filters out anything from Windows. So now I've got a much more manageable list of things that are running at startup, and I can go ahead and decide, you know, which ones I want to disable. What I want to do is actually show a comparison between the two different tools that you would use to gauge the processes that run at startup. Again, what you're seeing on the right is everything that you can see from Task Manager, and on the left, literally there are the hundreds of processes after we filtered out the different Microsoft processes. And you can see, for example, some of the things do get enumerated on the Task Manager. There's the Cyberlink UCAM service. Here we can see a lot of the Apple services that are enumerated in Task Manager. You know, for example, we have different iCloud services, also Apple Software Update, which we don't technically see on the Task Manager side of things, and that because it's from the Task Scheduler, we can't see that service that's basically an Autorun service on Windows. Likewise, you can see other services like Adobe Acrobat Update Task. I don't use PDF files in Acrobat Reader that often. And then this printer not verified process is from Brother, a printer that I used to have connected to my PC. Then there's this free VPN service that's running that's not part of our startup tasks. Again, software that I'm not using. And all of these things will contribute to make your PC run a bit slower. So now if we want to, we can look at everything else that's running. Again, all the TechSmith processes. In those cases, those are things that I trust, that I want to run at startup. Again, I'm using that software right now to record the demo. What you need to do to get this to run, or to get this to where you can actually turn some things off, is run this application, Autoruns, as an administrator. And you can see that it relaunches the window now with administrator rights. So now I have the ability to go in if I need to and turn off the various Autorun services and apps and processes that I don't want to run at startup, that I know that I'm currently not using. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off, for example, iTunes Helper here. I'll turn off one of those brothers processes, the UCAM service, Voicemeeter, McAfee, Security Scan Plus, Adobe Acrobat Update Task, the different camera app utilities that I have there. I'll turn off the additional Adobe services, all the Apple services I'm currently not using. I don't even know what Bonjour actually does. The brother service that was marked as not verified, and then that free VPN software that I don't want to have running. I can also turn off the iPod service. In my case, I don't have an iPod anymore. I'll turn off this one that doesn't look verified, and these are some of the things where, for example, if it's malware, most of the time you're going to see either red not verified or it's missing software, for example, because it couldn't be found during startup, and those are also things that you'll want to check out if you do have malware or suspect that there's malware running on your system. So this is a great tool also to disable some of those things. And even the Office add-ins that are running, these are COM add-ins for Office that I don't want to run, that would slow down basically Office loading a lot of times. And I missed one of the brother one of the brother processes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that one off as well. So now I've got a much cleaner startup. You can see on the right, a lot of these things are disabled. The only things that are really enabled at the moment are a lot of the Microsoft processes that I use every day. And from here, if I want to, or what I should be doing, is uninstalling a lot of these apps, because they'll sometimes find another way to be able to run. So you go through all of your apps then at this point and uninstall everything that you don't need. So that was how you can use sysinternal's auto runs to find everything on your PC that's really consuming resources as your PC starts up. Now, if you're, for example, heading home after university and trying to correct some of your parents' PC issues, maybe your kids are complaining that their PCs are getting slower. Well, it could be that it's caused by all the different startup processes that are running. So now you know the tool that you can get to from live.sysinternals.com to really look for every single process that launches after you start up your PC, and then prune away the things that you don't need to run during that startup process. So hopefully you liked this tip, and it also helped you save some time, potentially some money. And if you liked it, be sure to hit the like button. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you so much for watching.